Hi, I'm Becca Josie. I'm a mom. I have been married for 7.5 years. I have 2 kiddos. One is, Truett is 6 years old. He's in kindergarten, and Sloan is 4 years old, and she's in preschool.
I'm Kristen. I'm also a mom. I have been married to my husband Patrick for not quite 5 years, coming up. And then we have 3 kids, Avery, Cecilia, and Brooks.
The small group time that we had was extensive enough that it gave everybody time to share things that they probably wouldn't have shared if they only had like 2 or 3 minutes of a quick question. So watching a video talking about different women of the Bible and the struggles that they went through.
Snippets, right, of like, hey, this is like their like 2-second, blip about how they dealt with stuff. And I think we all probably saw ourselves in a little bit of everybody, right?
And then just opening up to, hey, do you relate to this, was such a great way to get us to share a little bit more. And I would not have known that we had the same story if you didn't share in that time.
I teetered a little bit on wanting to be vulnerable. It's been a struggle because it's hard to admit that, right? But I think in a smaller setting, and like I'm glad that I did, because I don't know if I like left and I'm like, wait, I'm like, Becca's so similar to me. Like it makes you feel seen, and I think that's nice in motherhood, because moms can relate and you're not alone in it, because it can feel isolating at points. So I think that's what was great about the small group time, because it was all like, wow, everybody struggles similarly.
Even in a sea of moms who we should automatically be able to relate to because we're women and we have children, sometimes you still feel completely isolated and alone, because it just looks like everybody else is doing well in what they set out to do. I think the first step in being vulnerable is to stop assuming. My assumption was always that every mom in this room who is a stay-at-home mom knew always that that's what they were going to do, and that when I walked in, I was just kind of thrust into it, and I still didn't feel like it was right for me, or I wasn't sure if it was right for me, and so I stayed quiet about it because I didn't ever want to seem like I was complaining about the joy that God had given me when I didn't feel joyful myself.
There's been other things, I think, in my life that have happened where I wasn't vulnerable, and it, I don't think it benefited me to not, because I think in being vulnerable, one, it allows other people to be, if you can be, if they see you opening up, but it gives you points of connection. Like, I don't know if we would have really ever discovered that we can relate so similarly to one another had I chosen just to be there quietly and not cry and say, hey, this is really hard for me. Being now in a church where we like feel really good about and like wanting to be plugged in, it's like a part of growth in your faith, I think, is going to the most painful parts of your life and trying to heal them in a healthy way with God. So
we tend to box it up and hide it away when Jesus called us to bring it to the light, because look at how much you helped me in that moment by bringing yours to the light. My heart literally leapt and tears filled my eyes when I heard you say like that I miss being somebody. I miss being a PA, and I'm home and I don't feel like I know what I'm doing exactly. It really resonated with me. And then another mom stepped up and was like, wow, I feel the same way. I used to be XYZ, and now I don't know what I am anymore.
So I guess I have to say it's important to tell your story, and speaking on your story is how you bring others to Christ and closer to Christ and closer yourself to Christ with relationships, that others also share in Christ. That didn't make any sense. But like what I'm saying is,
You're right, though.
yeah, it's important to say it.
Mhm.
So I guess don't feel that your story's not important, because maybe somebody can relate.
And I think that's one of the devil's biggest tactics, especially with us as moms, is to feel like you're not important, to feel like everybody else is really secure in how they feel and what they're doing, and you're the only one that feels that way. And that's how he keeps us quiet, so that we can't come in community and heal those parts of ourselves and give them back to Jesus and let him show us how he made us in his image.
Yeah. And that what we are doing is important, even when we feel that it's not,
Yeah.
or miss where we think
Or we
were
don't
very
have an
important.
immediate return on investment. Like the moment we do something, they're not coming to us saying like, Mom, I feel closer to Jesus because of you. I've actually never heard that from my kids. Whereas in other forms of work or the things that we do, we can immediately see our impact. Whereas this, it's the long game.
Yeah.
For the moms that are listening, the way that we can become more vulnerable is to know and understand that there's always somebody in a similar season as you, and if you don't share, they're probably not sharing. And so try to let yourself be the first person to open up, even if what we're saying, Kristen and I, you can't relate to. There's someone else that can relate to your story. And for us, our biggest thing is finding identity. And I think that we lose our identity, all of us as moms, in different ways, because we had our identity in the wrong things to begin with. We suddenly are just mom when we were a PA or whatever you were before, or anything. But your identity is in Christ, and actually not even being a mom.
Wow. For all our listeners out there. I think Becca nailed it. But I guess finding joy in the long game is probably, I'm really excited for the study ahead, just because I think it's going to help me find how I can be joyful, like in what I gave up versus what is my present situation, and finding that joy, but staying plugged in with others and knowing that people can relate, and talking about it is just, I think, kind of freeing, and it helps the long game, right? To know that you're not alone and how you feel. Just showing up to mom and sharing your story and letting others relate to you helps you get through some of like the deeper or darker moments that you can have as a mom.